Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Track Record. This is a series where I go over my prior NFL weekly bets, see how I did, see the things I need to improve on for the upcoming week. Let's get into it. So on screen now is the tracker that I'm using to track my weekly bets. I have on the screen all the games that I bet on, every single bet that I made, what the bet was, how much it was in terms of units, what the odds were, if I won, if I lost, what the payout was, and kind of other notes on the side as well. In column H, just kind of listing, hey, if it was a boost, if it was a free bet. Really just trying to give myself a classifying certain bets, seeing what I do well with, if I'm doing well with touchdown scores, if I'm doing well with spreads on teams that are playing away. Just really looking to track my bets and hold myself accountable for good bets and bad bets that I make. So I guess just to give a summary of the week, I started off 5 for 6 in the first 2 games of the season, won 2 out of the 3 games, or excuse me, 2 out of the 3 bets for the Ravens and Chiefs game. The only one that I lost was a Ravens money line. That was my profit boost bet. I got good odds for the payout. Disappointed that it didn't come through, though. Isaiah likely just needed to keep his 2 feet in bounds, and then Ravens had to also make the 2-point conversion. So a couple things went wrong for them. For the Green Bay and Packers game, I won 3 for 3, which is great. Won the Eagles money line bet also, which was boosted. Profit boost wise, I had a Saquon Barkley anytime touchdown score, and then there was a special for Saquon and Jalen Hurts to have at least 2 touchdowns in that game, and that paid out very nicely. So starting off the week before we even got to Sunday, we were 5 for 6. The Sunday 1 o'clock games are really tough. I only went 2 for 8 on these bets. Definitely a lot to improve on. The only bets that I won were the Patriots plus 8.5 spread, as well as the Saints negative 3.5 spread, and both of those won very easily. The ones that I did lose were Arizona and Buffalo. I was thinking that this is going to be a slugfest. Both teams coming in not dealing a lot of points. I thought maybe the Bills were going to slow down, not having a lot of weapons. Josh Allen really put his legs on that game and ended up playing remarkably. The Tennessee-Chicago game was definitely disappointment. I remember watching the score line and Tennessee being up 17-0 and thinking, all right, that's a good pick. Like, I got that in the bag, and then I still need to go back and watch film on what happened on Tennessee, but I think they just collapsed and didn't play the game well in the end. The Jacksonville-Miami game, Miami came out really slow. I didn't expect them to be down 10 points, I think it was, pretty much the entire game. But they did come back, and I did lose my spread bet by 1 point, which is a little frustrating, but that's the line I took. I thought Miami was going to wipe the floor with the Jaguars. So disappointed that didn't come through. Minnesota at the Giants. I thought the Giants were going to put up a little bit more of a fight in that game. Minnesota definitely had the upper hand, and for the 1 o'clock games, we go 2-8. I was able to come back in the 4 o'clock games. Although I don't believe in the Chargers this season, I do think that they were going to come out and open better than the Raiders. That was nice to see. Seattle at -6.5. That was what the line opened at. Broncos had an early red zone drive. I ended up taking another Seattle negative spread, thinking that Seattle would continue to play good defense and would be able to outscore the Broncos. So the -6.5 spread didn't come in. Seattle won by 6, but my -5.5 did. So I made up a little bit from that bet. The Dallas and Cleveland, I thought from the beginning that 42.5 points was a little bit low for both of these teams. Dallas ended up breaking away, and then towards the end of the game, Cleveland got an easy touchdown with Jerome Ford running into the end zone. So definitely a little bit of value that I could have extracted there later on. But coming from last season, both teams had really good defenses. Looks like Dak got paid and definitely wanted to show the rest of the NFL why he deserves to be a top paid quarterback with a big win away in Cleveland. So props to Dallas on that win. And lastly, the last 4 o'clock pick that I had was the Washington Commanders at Tampa Bay. This did not win. Originally thinking both these offenses would start out a little bit slow. Jaden Daniels coming into his first NFL game. I thought that Baker Mayfield and the Bucs would also come out a little bit slow, thinking that, hey, Washington Commanders, Dan Quinn, new head coach, defensive coordinator for the Cowboys last season, going to be a little bit more defensive-minded, maybe played a little bit safer, give their team a chance to win. So we were up about 1 unit in the 4 o'clock games versus we were up, what is that? We were down 4.2 units during the 1 o'clock games. And also during the Thursday and Friday games, we were up a nice just about 4.1 units. Moving on to the Sunday night game, Lions playing the Rams. I won only one of these bets. I had two touchdown boost bets. I thought that the Lions passing game was going to be a little bit stronger than it was. Amon-Ra really didn't have any receptions for himself. They really utilized Kieran Gibbs and David Montgomery in the backfield. Their O-line was very impressive, just in overtime pushing away the Rams defensive linemen and just running the ball. Really no resistance from the Rams in overtime. And why pass the ball if you don't need to? It's much safer just to run it with your guys. I did pick up the under 52.5, however. Really was just thinking that the Lions and Rams weren't going to go on scoring fests that they would in other regular season games towards the end of the season. Really just thinking that these teams are going to take time to gel together, and that the first primetime Sunday game of the season may look a little bit different than other ones. So lucky to come out with the under 52.5 on that game. And up to that point, we were net almost 0.4 units. So less than half a unit we were up until this point. And finally, the last game that I bet on was the Jets at 49ers game. I placed 3 bets during that game. I placed one for the over, placed one for Debo anytime touchdown score. I actually got a no sweat bet on that, so I thought I'd pick Debo. And I also picked Jets plus 3.5 spread, and that was a bonus bet. So although I did lose that bet, it does not count towards my final profit or loss. The over 41.5 was a 50% profit boost. This definitely helped me out to finish my week with a profit of 2.44 units. So what is a unit, and why am I tracking my bets using units opposed to dollars? Unit is just a measure of one's bankroll. For me, 1 unit equals 0.5% of my bankroll. I do also track the dollar amount that I'm betting, but betting in units and tracking that helps me understand how much risk I'm taking and how much I should be betting week to week. Showing my bets in units also makes it relatable to you and other sports bettors. So for my week 1 summary, I placed 25 bets. I won 13 of those, and I lost 12, making my win percentage just above 50% and ending with a profit margin of 11.2%. I want to just touch upon my strategy entering week 1 as well. I was looking to utilize all the profit boosts that I could get from the sports book that I was using. no sweats, profit boosts, anything that could mitigate my risk and that would boost my profit. I tried to take and challenge myself to bet on. A lot of those boosts and no sweat bets ended up being touchdown related wagers that I had to make. And although those aren't my strongest and most knowledgeable areas in sports betting, I think I did fairly well in picking up a lot of those bets. I did pick up the Derrick Henry or Travis Kelce to score 1+ touchdown. I did pick up the Jalen Hurts or Saquon Barkley combined +2 rush or receiving touchdowns. And I did pick up the Deebo Samuel anytime score a touchdown. So out of the 3 touchdown bets that I made, which were all boosts or no sweats, I ended up just missing the Amon-Ra touchdown bet. One of the Amon-Ra's, actually, if you count the 2 Amon-Ra's, I guess that's 2 touchdown bets. So I ended up losing 2 out of the 7 touchdown bets that I placed. So I feel happy about taking on that challenge and winning those touchdown bets and no sweat bets. The other thing I was focusing on going into week 1 was really just betting 1 to 2 units per game. I gave myself a little bit of room in my bankroll to place some in-game bets if I wanted to. I actually ended up only placing 1, which was that Seattle Seahawks bet, just because I wanted to see how the rest of the games went. But I thought that giving myself a 1 to 2 unit betting limit on each game this week would be my best chances to mitigate risk and to make profit. My last strategy entering week 1 was just to bet with confidence. I didn't want to expose myself to too much media. I did a lot of research on the teams before week 1 started. Really just wanted to bet with confidence and to see where I needed to level or even out my expectations going into week 2. And I think I've done that with a couple teams. I think I was very high on the Falcons at home. I was low on the Bills. I think entering week 2, this really gives me a good idea of where to adjust my expectations. One thing I can improve on for next week is to not rush my bets. Last week, I ended up rushing my Sunday picks. I like to have that on X by at least 9 a.m., but I ended up placing my predictions a little bit before halftime. And let's just say that my 1 o'clock picks definitely suffered from me rushing those picks. Ended up rushing those. I didn't think clearly through all my predictions. I had an idea through the week of what I was planning on doing for those games, but I kind of just threw that together last minute. And as you can see, I went 2-8. Don't rush your bets. Take time to think about them. Only bet when you're confident. And I think for week 2, that's going to be my mindset going in. I'm going to take some more time to think about the matchups, thinking about the schemes that both coaches are going to run, and come up with a more articulated wager for my Sunday and especially my 1 o'clock picks. I think another opportunity heading into week 2 is maybe I start betting on some more touchdown scores. I usually just like to bet on the money line or the spread. I think I may try some more touchdown scores next week. And I think for week 2, I'm also going to just continue to feel out these teams. This is only the first week. A lot of these teams half these teams are playing on the road, if not more than half, with the Green Bay Packers and Philadelphia Eagles. So there's a lot of team dynamics that are at play. Some of these games were divisional games like the Raiders and the Chargers. Some of these games were conference games like Tampa Bay and the Commanders, and some of these games were non-conference games like Dallas and Cleveland. So this is just the first game. A lot of these teams don't meet often, or they meet fairly often. So thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm trying to do these every single week to showcase what my track record is for every single week of the NFL. Drop a like if you made it this far. Let me know if you're betting in units as well, and if you have any other betting tracker tips or suggestions, let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Wees.